Good morning, Brew Crew. It is Friday. We've made it to day 3 of Origins. Just about ready to go head down to the vendor hall, meeting up with some more publishers today, and just finished getting the video for day 2 uploaded. That usually takes up most of my morning, so it's pretty common that I don't get down to the vendor hall till noon, 1 o'clock-ish. So we're gonna head down there now, and let's see what's new.
So this is Speed Colors. This is a new release from Friendly Skeleton. It's coming out in August. And it is a game all about coloring, which is my favorite activity, even as an adult. So what's going to happen here is Benita is going to get our patented speedometer, which is going to be our scorecard here, and then we're going to pick a card out of this pile that you want to color, Benita. What are you feeling here?
Look at this. Okay, wait, hold on.
The game comes with over 100 different cards.
Yeah.
Each card has a black and white side.
There's so many cool ones. What do I do?
Each card has a black and white side as well as a colored side. So our goal is to memorize where each color goes in our card and then to replicate it on the other side. The trick is that we're only going to get to see the colored side one time. So as soon as we flip it over and start coloring, we can't flip it back over. So you're going to have to try.
Oh no!
Don't be looking. You're looking at the back side. I'm not going to let you choose that one. You're a cheater. I don't know.
Wow. Okay, fine. I'll do the snake.
All right. So you're going to do the snake. So we're going to grab our markers. There's 6 markers of the 6 colors there.
Do you want to do it with us?
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
Okay, I feel like now you have to do it. Here, you have to do it.
Here's the trick now. Now we're gonna have to make the markers even closer here.
Yeah.
I've been doing production management at Funko Games for 4.5 years, and now I'm just
Move this over far enough that I don't knock it.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So you all have to be able to reach the box. Is that we got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the
ready.
count of 3, we're gonna flip over the card.
Okay.
At any time, you can flip it back over to start coloring in. But once you flip over the card and start coloring in, you cannot flip it back over.
And how long do we have?
You have as long as you need, but as soon as somebody has colored in all 6 sections, they're going to put the marker into the box that they used for that, and they're going to say done, and then everybody can finish the marker you're on, but you cannot grab another marker.
Okay.
Other rules: can't erase, can't just color everything one color. You're going to get a point for every space that you have colored in completely. So there's no like squiggling and saying, oh, I'm done with the red. You have to be complete. You can't go over the lines, right? And you'll get 1 point if you color something in each space you color in correctly. You get an additional point if it's the correct color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, they have to be at least.
No hoarding markers. Okay. Can you reach the box, Clay? No.
Nah.
Are you able to reach the box? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. All right, on the count of 3, we're gonna flip it over. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
well, so I've been talking to Aaron about this already. So
So that might. So yeah, with the intention of first things first, identifying some sort of organizational pattern to what it is you're offering, turning that into what are we going to offer at it,
Come on.
and having all that information ready by October, so we're able to promote that as part of what we're doing at it.
So we make these markers fatter.
Good start. Okay, we're already making.
Did you start with the largest section?
I did.
Maybe they have.
I have forgotten. Oh no. Everything.
Everything.
Because Gamma's goal was not to educate people, was to reach a little bit publisher.
Come on.
Where? Oh, fuck.
All for education in the other segment.
Also, if you think about it,
Oh no. Oh no. I need that green.
40% or more of the publishers.
No, I need that green.
Oh, so if
What? Oh my god. It's me and Benita's last color. How did we plan this so imperfectly?
I think you should give me the green.
I think you should throw it in the box a fair amount.
Hey, this is not fair. You have a longer wingspan. Oh no! I need the green. I'm so screwed.
I could not believe we let it down to that last. And then the funny part is I just say done,
And I can't take it.
and you can't take it.
That is ice cold.
No, it's speed colors.
Good job.
I can finish with the one
You
that
can
I have.
finish the
Yeah.
one you have. Oh, so you got all your squares.
I got all of my sections.
Did you get all your? Okay, so
I don't know if I got them right.
oh, I totally screwed mine up. Okay, so this is the way that scoring works. I get 6 points right off the bat just because everything's filled in.
Okay.
And then if I have them correctly in the correct space. So I have the yellow, the blue, and the orange in the right space, but I switch the green and the purple. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the right space. So I get another 4 points. So I have 10 points. And then
See, I would have gotten a 12.
oh, but what did you get instead?
I got a 10
Oh, the same as
because
me.
I was perfect.
What'd you get, Clay?
I got 6, and then I got, I think, only 2 in the right spot.
Oh, damn.
So you got 8 points. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your scorecard here, and you're gonna fill in as many dashes as you got points.
You know what?
So,
Points of action.
well, I mean, if you cheat, I guess.
Yeah. Now it's 12.
You had it in your hand too.
I know,
literally
you
just
grabbed it. You grabbed it from me.
Same page about.
So I get 10.
Victory was in your grasp.
Yeah.
So then you would fill in the speedometer, and we'd play 4 rounds, and then you would get an animal determined.
I would like for.
Your score determines what animal you get, right?
Okay.
So right now I am a turtle, but hopefully I can get to horse or hare is my hope. But there's also cheetah, which is 4 rounds of perfect, which is quite difficult.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So with over 100, there's 100 cards in the box, so there's so much like replayability. You really can't remember all of the cards and where the colors were, so it's got a lot of replayability.
So obviously a kid's game, but also if you're drinking, I could see this being really fun. Yeah.
And the other fun part about it too is
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it.
we've also taken into consideration maybe you're playing with your kids, right? So
Yeah.
each card actually has a score on it, right? So these are the difficulties. So this one's really hard.
Okay.
Yours was a 2, but ours was 3. So we did play with a harder card.
Wow. So much shade. Hey, you want to pass it over?
Yeah.
And I will.
That's Speed Killers. It will be out. We'll have it at Gen Con, but it will also be in stores, including Target, starting in August. Great. So great, and it's a $15 price point. So perfect. Super
Yeah.
affordable. Great for families. Great for drinkers.
What are they?
There's so much like judgment right there. You're drinkers.
Great for family drinkers.
Yeah. So this is our secret party game. We just announced it last week, and it's called It's Obvious.
It's a long haul.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Let's see.
But that's
Oh.
this is a good
What are you
start.
doing? Which one?
I'm just looking at some of these. Oh, okay. So everyone's going to get 2 vote cards because there's 2 options on every card. So let me just give them to you. Here, Jacob.
Let's do it.
Okay. And
Who has the coolest card?
this game is you have a choice. And you are going to... These are yours. Those are for you. Everything good?
Yeah.
Person doesn't look like they're
See it.
Yeah, and so we're all gonna secretly vote on what we think the obvious choice is, and it should be like be truthful. Like what is your opinion on this? Eat pizza crust? Don't eat pizza crust. Just right now, just vote. Okay.
Perfect. Now Benita is going to mix them up
Yeah.
and reveal what the obvious choice is,
I made mine on a Rico.
which is obviously don't eat the pizza crust.
Yeah. Okay. And so now, if you voted for eat the pizza crust, how we have the obvious choice and the oblivious choice. You want to explain how the
Yeah,
voting
sure.
stuff works?
So
Yeah.
the obvious team, of course, is the most votes, right? So we all 3 of us obviously know that you don't eat that pizza crust, but one of us is lying. So we're trying to find out who this liar is, and the liar is trying to pretend that they are on the obvious side. So we might ask questions like, "Okay, Clay, you don't eat the pizza crust," is what you're saying.
I don't eat the pizza crust.
We're asking you, do you eat
Yeah.
the pizza crust?
I sometimes depends on the crust.
And to clarify, if this was your answer, you want to pretend and you want to lie because you want to be like, I'm obviously part of the obvious group. And if you are part of the obvious group, you want to try to find out who voted for this.
Okay.
And you're gonna do that by talking.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I might say like, hey, listen, like the toppings are on the pizza, they're
Yeah.
not on crust.
Right.
Now, if the crust is like stuffed with something, that's a whole different thing. But that's not a normal pizza.
Yeah.
So I'm more interested about what's in the center of the
What
pizza.
about seasoned crust?
The white on.
Sure, but I'm much more. If I have to choose, I'm gonna leave that crust every time. If I'm at a pizza buffet, what about you? Are you?
Color, everything else is
How do you determine if you eat the crust or not?
I mean, most of the time it is too dry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're using thick
Sometimes people just don't get crust right. You know what I mean? So I don't want to eat the crust.
I think Clay is. I don't know. He's a little suspicious here.
So we would now vote, and we would just point at who we think is this answer.
So the way that voting works is anytime you think you know who it is, you'll raise your finger.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we have a majority of fingers in the air, then we'll vote on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now, grab your vote out of the center. What'd you have? Ooh, so somebody was a liar, which is me. Hey! So I would win because I deceived you all.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to eat the pizza.
You put
crust.
so much blame on Clay
obviously-
that I believed you. Yeah.
That's
Good
the
job.
game.
Yeah.
That's the game.
This game has made me realize I'm not a good liar.
I've never done well at these games, but they're always such a
Yeah.
laugh riot when you play.
And so we have we have like 200 prompts. So we have knees are weird versus knees are fine. We have keep shoes on inside, take shoes off. Peanut butter first or jelly first?
That one's a debate. It's obviously. See, here's my problem.
It's peanut butter first because it's a firmer base. Jelly would make it like
100% correct.
yeah, jelly, right? Like, what do you think?
I'm putting a lot of peanut butter on a thing, so I probably will go peanut butter first.
Okay, so we're all in agreement in
Yeah.
this one.
Looking for
So some of them are just funny. As a person who's a millennial, this is very near and dear to me.
NSYNC
NSYNC
or
or Backstreet Boys? Backstreet Boys.
They're back. All right.
They're back. Good job. Yeah, so this is our Gen Con game that's coming out then.
Yep. So
Very
this
fun.
one will actually be a $15 price point too. So it's great for larger parties. Like the prompts are really like pretty multi-generational, but also spark a lot of fun debate. Like we've
Yeah.
got one that's watermelons are pink or watermelons are red, and you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
how
What do
many
you
people-
think?
The good ones are red.
The watermelon is pink.
It's pink. It's pink. Even in the candy, it's pink.
In the candy, it's pink, but is
Yeah.
that really watermelon?
Watermelon flavor.
It's red number.
And if you come to our booth at Gen Con, we will also be having a board game promo.
Okay.
Like a little mini 5-card expansion promo where the cards are very like board game centric.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How many people does it play?
This plays up to 8.
Okay.
So 3 to 8
Good
people.
big party game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Excellent.
So this is our we're Kess Games. This is our line for 2024. We had Sonic Roll come out in February. It's a 1 to 4 player semi-cooperative Sonic game inspired by classic Sonic games from the 90s. So it's got like a lot of pixel art graphics on the cards and such. Street Fighter just came out. It's like showing up in stores now, but I can't guarantee that it would be on your local store's shelf yet because it's all still in transit. So that is also a 1 to 4 player co-op game. You are playing cards to do various moves. So you're on a map, and there are like enemies that you get into fights with, and you kind of play cards to do your various moves. And then based on what character you are, you have special abilities, and you can kind of chain the cards into your special abilities to do combos and stuff. And then Piece Bento Panic, we just announced on Monday. We actually can't show everything that's in the game publicly yet, but we are doing some previews for it, and we can give like a general gameplay overview.
A game where you, at the beginning of a round, you're going to choose an ability, and you're going to roll dice to build a dice pool, and you're going to use those dice to get through a zone. So the zone is set up like this, with 3 tracks. And let's get the dice. Oops. someone can set this up. Each of the characters you can see have their own abilities. They have their own moves for building a dice pool, and then a special ability that can help them in some sort of way. We'll just start with Sonic. He's the main character. You can play this 1 to 4 players. So you can actually play it solo. The semi-cooperative nature of it is that we are all trying to get through the zone together. We win and lose as a group, but at the end, you have a score that's individual to you, and if you want to compare scores to see who kind of won the most, you can do that. You can also play the game fully competitive, where there's no fail state for the players, and it's just whoever has the highest score at the end. But we recommend for the first few times to play the semi-co-op. That's like the main way the game was designed. And so what's going to happen is, at the beginning of your turn, you are going to pick one of your moves to build a dice pool. And so say I'm Sonic and I choose my spin dash. That says I roll a red and a blue die. Add that to my dice pool, and I keep doing that until I have 2 of the same number in my dice pool. So now I have 2 4s in my dice pool, so I would stop, and this becomes my dice pool to use for the remainder of the turn. So now I can start playing, and to play a die, I have to go to the leftmost open spot on any zone card, and I just have to match the number on the die exactly with what's here. Oops. So I have a 2, so I can't play it here, that needs a 5. Here's a 2 though, so I can play it here. If it is a white spot, then it can be any color die. If it has a color, then it would have to be that color. So this would have to be a blue 5, that could be any 5. Once I spend a die, I get the reward at the bottom, and then if I want to keep playing, I have to re-roll the rest of my dice pool. So I do that, I look, and 6 to 4, here's a 2, I can play that. Re-roll again. Here's a 3, I can play that. You keep doing that until you've spent all your dice, and then your turn will be over. Or after you spend a die, you can also choose to stop. And you might want to stop early, because if you ever roll, and you can't play a die, so 5, 1, 2, those are my spots I can play on, there's nothing legal to play, then you have to take damage, which is any rings that you're holding, you would lose all of them. Ooh. Just like in the game. So instead, you can choose to end your turn early. And when you do that, you would discard all of the dice you have left, but anytime you do that, you have to take a time token off of the stage. And if you take all of the time tokens, then that's also game over. You time out. So if you take damage and you have no rings to protect you, then you would lose a life. Which, my life token. Every player starts with 3 lives. You flip that over. If you lose all of your life tokens, that's also game over for the group. So those are the 2 ways the players can fail. Each die represents a different action. So you have the yellow dice or jump dice. Every time you spend a jump die, you get 1 ring. Simple as that. The red dice are spin dice, and those can be used to defeat badniks. And they're generally safer to roll against badniks, because when the badniks come out, they can try to damage you. And then the blue dice are run dice, and whenever you spend a run die, you actually do not have to re-roll your dice pool to spend another die. So if I do that and say this was a 5 and this was a 3, I could spend a 5 here and then immediately spend this 3 without having to re-roll. The different spots here are different kind of rewards you can get as you're going through the zone. So this is a boost token. Whenever you use a boost token, you can spend that to re-roll your dice pool. So say you rolled and you didn't have anything, you could spend a boost token to avoid taking damage. The rings are, every time you pass by rings, you get to collect them. So if you win here, you get 3 rings. This spot right here is a badnik spot. And so every time one of those is landed on, you have to take a badnik, and you also get to give a badnik to another player. So when a badnik is drawn, it goes in front of the player like this. And it's got a few important things about it. It has these spots over here are how you get rid of them. You can always avoid a badnik by playing on the lower track. Those are usually yellow or blue dice, so you're jumping or running by them. And that just discards the badnik. If you play the red spot, and every badnik has a red spot, then not only do you destroy it, but you also get the little animal token that's inside, and that's worth points at the end of the game. Over here are the Badnik's attacks, and if you re-roll dice, and any of them match that, so if I had rolled a red 5, the Badnik would attack me, and I would lose all of my rings I'm holding. You take damage. If you take damage, you're invulnerable until you re-roll again, so if I took damage from a Badnik and I also couldn't play a die that turn, I don't die, I don't take damage twice, I would just take the damage one time and then I get to re-roll. The big ring will send you over here to Blue Sphere, which is the bonus level. And when you get to go to Blue Sphere, you get to flip over a tile. So if I flip over a white tile, then that's a bumper, I would get the reward there and I would get to go again. If I flip over a red tile, then I would get the reward, but I'd have to stop. And every time someone does that, these remain like this until the next player gets to go, because what you're looking for is the Chaos Emerald tile. And if you find that tile, then you get to collect a Chaos Emerald, and then you would shuffle this and reset it. Chaos Emeralds are worth a lot of points. They also have a special ability on them that you can use once per game, where you just flip it over and use whatever effect is on the bottom. It'll give you a few dice and a special property for the turn. And if you can collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds and beat all 4 stages of the campaign, there's actually a secret section of the rulebook that we have stickied shut. So you're not tempted to open early. And there's some cool goodies inside for that. So we have Green Hill Zone, Stardust Speedway, Lava Reef, and then Chemical Plant. There's also, if you pass by a star post, those let you save your rings. So if you want, you can take all of the rings you're holding and put them aside, so next time you take damage, you won't lose any of them. They're also not protecting you, so if you don't have new rings, you would just lose a life instead. But if you save at least 5 at once, then you get to also come to the bonus stage.
Okay.
And finally, we have hazard dice, which are, whenever you have to roll a hazard die, you compare the numbers to what's left in your dice pool, and if the numbers match, then you would take damage. Once the player plays on the last spot of a zone card, then they would get to keep this to show that they completed it, which is worth points at the end, and you would also get to get whatever reward is at the end of that route. And then we'd flip out a new zone card. Once you complete enough of those cards, then the stage flips over and the boss battle begins. And the boss battle is played pretty similar. Instead of there being zone cards, there are boss pattern cards that the boss will put out in front of you to stop you from being able to attack them. So you flip out a certain amount of those. And they also have a special Badnik card that will follow the players around. You get rid of them the same way, you just have to play on them, which will discard them, which gets you closer and closer. Once you get close enough to hit the boss, if you play that there, then you would take one of their health tokens off and you collect that for points. And once both of their health tokens are gone, then the boss is defeated and the players win.
Which is a 1-to-4 player co-op game. You are moving around this map trying to fight these grunts, and then you'll have a rival on the board that you need to defeat. Each player will have their own rival. We're just playing Ryu versus Ken for now. And then there will be a boss who will show up at the end, who is one of the villains from the Street Fighter universe. In this case, it's going to be M. Bison. And so based on what character you're playing, you'll get a different deck here, and you will mix together, 2 of these fighting styles. So Ryu is a Shoto Zoner. So those are the 2 decks that we're working with. And then on your turn, you're playing these cards to do different moves. So any of them can be used to move 2 spaces, or you can play it for its effect. So maybe I want to play this to move 2, and then I want to do a projectile, for example. So I can, attack this enemy here. I have 2 hits. He's got 2 health, so he's going to come off the board. You can kind of chain the attacks that you do into your specials over here, which are different for each character. So I can use this projectile card and discard it from my tableau to use this Ishin move that will be a melee attack for 3, and then I believe that pushes the enemy away. So I would be able to, melee attack this, roll 3 dice.
And you can do that because of the cost. So
Right. So it has this this punch and a kick. So I can discard this card from my tableau to use this. Over the course of the game, you can build up your EX meter, which you can use to upgrade your abilities into stronger versions. And you are, the enemies will take a turn, so they all have like scripted little moves that they'll do to menace you, and then eventually the big boss will come out who has a bunch of moves. And so it's co-op, so you're all moving around together, trying to get into different fights with enemies and, beat them up with your combos. And that's the game.
Nice. Love the look of it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few different stages.
I out of Street Fighter back in the day, so.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stages. So this is the Kenzuki Estate, and they all have some different conditions and interactables on the map and stuff. Some of these little symbols are like things that the players can interact with to try and complete objectives or whatever.
Yeah. Our version of the game has the 8 World Warriors, so like the Street Fighter characters that most people are familiar with. Ken, Ryu, Honda, Blanca, Chun-Li.
Yeah.
Me and Michael worked on it again. I got to be the lead, helped develop it. This is a 3 to 9 player party game where you are taking the role of the Straw Hats after a successful raid or mission out in the open seas, and you are going to be trying to eat the most food at the celebratory feast. So during this game, everyone at the start of a round is going to put 2 fingers into the air. And you are going to get a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and with each of these fingers, you are going to do one of the following actions. So you can point at the center, at the bag, and if you do that, you get to take 2 random pieces of food from the bag. You can do any action with like either finger, so you can point both, and then you get 4 from the bag, right? You can also point at one of your neighbors. And if you do that, you get to steal a pile of food from them. And so a pile is, any number of stacks of the same tile. All of the food you get, you're supposed to stack up if it's the same. So if I go like this, I can take all of his curry. Now, if your neighbor is pointing at you when you point at them, you just cancel each other out and nobody steals anything. So what you can do is, with both fingers, you can point at the same player like this. So that would cancel that, and I'd still successfully steal. If I point both fingers at him, though, and he's just doing something else, I still only get to steal one thing. I don't get to steal twice. If you think someone's going to double point at you, you can block like that, and then that will cancel any number of fingers being pointed at you, and so I would get nothing. And then finally, and most importantly, you can cover your mouth with one or both hands. If you do that, you can eat. And that is you choose one pile of food again, and you eat that whole pile at once. You put that into your bento box, and then it can no longer be messed with. It is there for you to score at the end of the game. Where's the leafy tracker? Yes. So as you're playing the game and as you're pulling food, there is a special food type, meat. And meat is special in that you can only eat meat if you have a pile of 5 or more. As people are stealing and grabbing meat and grabbing stuff in the bag, these piles will get bigger and bigger, and once they get to 5, then they are a legal target for being able to eat. There is also an order of events. Stealing happens first, eating happens second, and then grabbing from the bag happens third. So if he tries to eat and I steal, and he's got a big pile of meat here, I could steal that before he gets the chance to eat it. There also, in the bag, is this juicy meat. Juicy meat goes into the meat pile, but also when you pull a juicy meat, it gets Luffy's attention. So there's a tracker here of how hungry Luffy is getting. As you pull a juicy meat, each time it goes down by 1. When it gets to 0, he will attack, and he will take all of the food of the player who currently has the most meat. He'll eat it, and it'll go back in the bag. That will conclude a round. The game, you'll reset this back to wherever it was, and then you'll play again. And then after the second round, last call begins. So you flip this token over. And for the third round, every time a juicy meat is pulled, this goes down by 2. So it's like a lightning round at the end. After 3 rounds, the game is over. You count the food, and whoever has the most food is the winner.
Super fun.
Yeah, it's super fun, super frenetic. Kind of captures the One Piece energy. And it's not too chaotic, too, because you really only need to be paying attention to your neighbors. You don't have to, if there's 9 people at the table, you don't have to clock every single one of them before a round begins.